Welcome back, it's your boy Tucker, also known as Autodidact. Today we're reading some more of this book. This is episode 4 of Reading the Story of Philosophy by Will Durant. If you are looking for a academic, structured approach to philosophy, then this video is definitely 100% not for you, so click on. But if you're looking for a vibes-based, broing down version of philosophy, then I guess keep watching. And so the question that's probably in your mind is, why am I sitting dangling with my legs over top of I think this is like a 50-foot drop, almost certain death. It's for the thumbnail, I want to be honest. Keep watching if you'd like to see me talk about what I read in this book today. I already made the meme image, so pop that up here. Giga Chad plus Plato. It's funny because we're Zoomers, comedy. All right, that's it. Let's get tropical.
It's honestly incredible how much information Durant manages to pack into only a few pages. Right now the chapter's on Plato and I have some takeaways to talk about, but before I do that, I just want to say, when you read books like this, written like in this manner with a person like Durant who sees history on a very broad scale, it allows you to kind of pop above the clouds of the current zeitgeist. And what I mean by that is you see the actions that you can take in the modern day that have been done so many times before and are kind of cringe back then. And then if you allow yourself to apply what you've learned about history to the modern day, you're like, oh, okay, the issues I think are important aren't important, and the ones that are important, people are not paying attention to. That's basically the main message, is like, change your attention because the current zeitgeist, whatever the taboo is that's being talked about, whatever is in the media right now, it's like usually not important, usually meant as a disguise, and usually in a democracy, for example, is usually just made as a way to sway the voters. It just is what it is. There's no, you don't even need to get emotional about it. It's just like, can you be grounded enough to see that and then look at the thing that's actually best to look at? And so point number 1 is that, sorry, I got hot. Diving right in, quote number 1 I want to go over is something that hit me in the gut the first time I read it, and I want to share it with you and then share a big asterisk about it. Okay, so this is Thucydides. He was living around 400 BC, and he goes, "The strong do what they can, the weak suffer what they must." This hurts when you read history like this and you see the perspective, because it fits a lot of the data. A lot of the stuff you read about history, it's like, yeah, that fits. That's shit. And so for me, at least, it kind of gave me this, not, I guess, nihilism. It's like, well, what's the point? Like, all of this suffering for nothing, shit. And that's where reading history becomes something more serious than just like, oh, this is a fun little book, because it can really hit you hard as like, when you get the historical perspective of the amount of suffering that has happened and the crazy, wild experience of being a human, if you hyper focus on certain elements of it, like, it can get you depressed. This is not light stuff here, which is why I think it's important to give mimetic counterbalances, mimetic vaccines, if it were, because there's a third option. It's not only the strong and the weak. There's a better option that's above those two, and it's the strongest. The strongest suffer for their peers. The strongest can take over, can conquer, and choose not to for the betterment of all. And those are the ones we talk about today. Those are the ones who actually win. Okay, and I'm going to give you one example of this, and there's many. The one example is George Washington. So George Washington, and frankly all the founding fathers, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, they knew that if they didn't win, which they probably wouldn't, all of them would be hung, drawn, and quartered. Horrible deaths for all of them. They signed it anyway because fuck the British. And also, like, it was on principle they signed it. Fast forward, they win the war. Everyone's like, hey, George Washington, be our emperor, be our king. Now, if humanity was purely about power and conquering and nothing else, then George Washington, by this principle, would then have become king and become an emperor himself, a conqueror, might have been even a just king, but would have been a king of North America, whatever you want to call it. But instead of doing that, he gets on his horse and he says, all right, well, I won the war. I'm going to go fuck off back to my farm. You guys are going to have democracy. It's going to work. See ya. And like, it was unanimous. It wasn't like he had to do anything to become, everybody wanted him to be king. It was like a thing. And he said, nah, not really. They had to beg him to be president for the first time. After 8 years, then he has to come back and become president. The point is, like, what is the military superpower of the world right now? America. What's the capital of America called? Washington. Which memes lived? The one of Washington. His meme lived more than the ones trying to conquer at the time. And we go to another one. Look at the story of Christianity. And I'm not making any religious claim here. I'm just saying, if you look at the story, the meme that lived is not the one of the conqueror. If I go down my street right now, there isn't a house dedicated to Napoleon. There is no buildings dedicated to Caesar. There is nothing about Genghis Khan anywhere around. It's in our history books, but nothing else. But you know who has a living thing right now down the street that I can go to on Sundays? Jesus Christ. That's the story that lives. So the memes that live are the ones that are above this. And it shows that humanity has a heart, there is a moral imperative, and you can act in a moral way. It's not all nihilistic. And people who say it is, I feel for them and I want to shake them out of their stupor. It's easy to just blindly look at history as this like impersonal force, but it's not. And there is a moral bent, even among all the suffering. That's the beautiful part, is there is something there that isn't just base humanity power games about nothing. There is this beautiful aspect, even among all the rubble and the garbage. There is a bloody, broken human holding up a bird to save it from the rubble. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my passionate ramble for the day. If you're going to dive into history, mimetically prepare yourself with genuine bloomerism. We're not lying to ourselves, but it's real. The optimism is a based take. I'm going to save this second ramble for another episode. So if you want to see the episode on the cycles of government and why you shouldn't buy into our deification of any form of government, then watch the next episode. But this is going to end on my optimistic bloomer take, why history has an arc even among all the shit. That's going to be it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, take it easy. I love you, Godspeed, and I'll see you in the next one, which is going to be tomorrow.